Hi, I'm David Kearn. I'm a painter and I'd like to welcome you to this video. But first of all, my first problem is I got a canvas and it's got nothing on it. So I'll just spend a couple of minutes getting some paint on it because those of you that know me know I really don't like painting on a blank canvas. So even before I do any drawing, I'm going to put a bit of paint on this canvas, and I'm going to use, I've got acrylics here, right? So I'm going to use a bit of burnt sienna because that gives a nice brown, bright background. So Tom Thompson would certainly like that. And if I'm doing a little bit of a wash, washing some colour on, put a bit of water with that, and if you put water with acrylic, it's always a good idea to put a squeeze of medium in as well, because otherwise the acrylic bond breaks down. I know some of you have heard me say that before, but you don't want chalky paint that's then just kind of coming out and messing up afterwards. So I'll just mix that around a bit. There we are, almost done. There it is. And I don't try and make it. Sometimes I'll do a bit of a wash or something beforehand, but you know, typically I'm not very organized, so I like to kind of start taking advantage of that by just sort of doing things almost all in one go, right? There you go. That's probably good enough. I'm not even going to worry if I've got a couple of white spots. I could cover them up, but you never know. Maybe they'll do something for me too. So I've certainly got some paint on the canvas, which shows who's boss.
No.
Yeah, we're painting, right? So you got. That's right. That's why when I was saying, you know, you want to get some paint on that, right? Because you know, because yeah, otherwise the drawing just takes, and it looks so much better as soon as you start that.
I'm happy.
Yeah. So with that, I'm going to lay something out, and I'll continue with my trusty burnt sienna and a bit of ultramarine blue. And if I'm mixing those two together, I could use black or grey or something. Right? That wouldn't be a bad idea as well. But these two together just give me lots of nice darks, as some of you know, because it's not the first time I've said it. It won't be the last time, right? And I tend not to draw. I tend to kind of just dive straight in with the paint. But we're doing perspective today, right? So that's the first thing I should do is put in a horizon, eh? Right. So why don't I do that? So I'll say that my horizon is going to run along here. There we go. There's my horizon now. Makes a bit of sense, actually, doesn't it? Right? And oftentimes we're painting, whether it's a cityscape or whatever, right? You know, a lot of artists may not want to put it in the middle. Typically, it's not actually a bad idea, right? From a composition point of view, it doesn't really wreck it putting it in the middle. But a lot of artists, you would say, well, you know, perhaps the horizon a little bit higher or lower than the middle. So there we go. So we got that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out a bit of a street scene with a corner, sort of like we got there. But I thought I'd give it a twist. I thought I'd say, well, what if it wasn't flat? What if it was on a hill? It was a hilly town, like San Francisco or something. How would we handle that, right? If I start off by saying, well, I'm gonna have my street going up to a vanishing point that's higher than the land, then maybe I could just make a stab at where that might be, right? And then the building after that, this is going downhill, like we were looking at with Durslinde, right? You're actually now my building is going to be below the horizon. The next one's going to end up being below the horizon, so I can actually start seeing the top of the building. So although each building is square and going to a sensible vanishing point on the horizon, the road itself is going downhill. So anyway, that's my little perspective layout. But I think the next thing I should do is block in some values and shapes, right? So I'm going to assume that the sun's coming this way, and these buildings are all going to be in a bit of light, and these buildings are all going to be in a bit of shade. So I'm going to put in two different values for that and see where I go. And I'm still going to keep on using predominantly ultramarine blue and burnt sienna, but I'll certainly have to get some white out for this. Just getting a kind of what I think is about the right tone. And more recently I've got away from using too much water. I know when I started painting it, when I got away from watercolors, I would tend to use quite a bit of water in my wash. A sky colour out, which this is going to be a bit of a modernist kind of painting, so I'm not going to be trying to do it too realistically, but I think I will get some. I'll swap my blue to mainly cerulean blue. How's that look? It's a kind of jolly blue, isn't it? Too blue. Very nice blue, but too blue. So I will just de-blue it a bit and use some of my Right, so we said that yellow houses looked good, didn't we?
Yeah.
Right,
Well,
we said
you were
we like
lucky,
yellow
didn't you?
houses, we've got to put a yellow house in, so we're going to make one of these guys yellow.
Oh, great.
Perhaps we'll have the one right in the front there, nice and prominently yellow. I'll have to get some more yellow out as well. But, some nice. And yellow's very translucent, so I always have I'm trying to block something, and I always try to add a little bit of white to my yellow, even if it goes a little bit light first time. But this time I've got some yellow yellow ochre to help me out as well, right? So I've got a nice. Been talking to some people recently. They've been saying, like, you know, Turner's yellow and Naples yellow, and all these yellows are they're not really yellow. They're really tints of white, almost, right? They're yellowish, but there's a lot of white in them. So don't be fooled by some of these colours that say yellow. They're not going to behave like yellow. And in fact, I've kind of mixed up something which probably ends up looking a bit like Turner's yellow or something, right? And that's from a fairly neutral yellow, and I've got some yellow ochre in there as well. So what I'm going to do is, just to give it a bit of context, I'm going to kind of create the facade of the building at the same time, right? So I'm gonna assume that I can kind of create a bit of a feeling of where the windows are going to go. Just as a
Wow, isn't that lovely?
You checking your makeup?
no. What I'm doing is I'm looking at my painting
Yeah.
the other way round.
Okay.
Because if you look at your painting the other way round, your brain has to suddenly rewire itself, and you see things anew, right?
Differently.
You see things that are right about it, and you see things that are wrong about it.
Yeah.
In this case, I see it very, very, very dull on the upper hill. So I'm going to put some bright colour in there, and and that's, believe me. See, I'm happier with that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because there was just a lack of colour on that side.
Right. That works.
It was getting very dull.
I hate checking your makeup. I hate checking your makeup.
I couldn't have done a better setup myself than that, eh? That was just perfect. And I was just thinking, what do I what's wrong with this picture? And I honestly didn't know.
And now you know.
Honestly didn't know what to do. And just looking in the mirror just clarified things.
That's amazing.
Is it a rear view mirror?
So maybe for this little investigation, that's where I'm going to kind of leave it, I think.